Good evening, everybody, or good day, depending where in the world you are. It's great to have you on this call. We've got a good speaker that knows his oats. He's in the Strand, that's near Cape Town in South Africa, Herman. And, he's going to talk about the hype about omega-3. You must have heard about omega-3. It's always in the news, always in the papers. And, Herman will tell us why all the hype and whether it's good or bad for us. Thank you, Herman.
Thank you, Chris. Good evening, everybody. Well, omega-3, obviously, like Chris said, we have probably heard about it before somewhere. I remember many years ago, I read about it. The first thing I read about it in the newspaper was omega-3 can help prevent breast cancer. So that got me interested in omega-3. And I guess I tried it since then. I'm still using it. But let's chat about omega-3 because there's so many questions about omega-3. Just a disclaimer. I'm talking from a primary healthcare point of view. The recommendations made here are there to assist the body to ensure a healthy lifestyle. These are not medical prescriptions. It doesn't replace a doctor's prescription. It's things that I would do. I'm not suggesting any cures. You just help the body so the body can heal itself. Now, body signs of omega-3 deficiency. There are quite a number. Here's just some to give an idea. Cardiovascular issues, like high blood pressure and stuff like that. Okay. And that's the next one mentioned there. Or bad blood circulation, stroke, high cholesterol, high blood fats, stiffness, aching joints, back and neck pain, arthritis, rheumatism, ADD, ADHD, mental disorders, poor memory, and the list goes on. Depression, migraines, headaches, vision problems, asthma or breathing problems, skin rashes, irritations, prostate problems, blood sugar issues, even insulin resistance. It's just amazing. This is a complete list because it's an anti-inflammatory as well. So this is to give you some idea of signs that show that you might be lacking omega-3. But now, we need to eat oily fish at least twice a week. Let me ask you a question. Have you eaten 2 portions of oily fish in the past week? Can you put up your hand, please? How many people did? Oh, there goes. I had at least one, at least I can see. But not many of us do. Unless you cheat by taking good supplements, eh? People take supplements to make up for the fact that we don't eat enough oily fish. Now, when omega-3 oil was become recognized, scientists realized that the Eskimos who ate mainly fat, 70% of the diet is fat. Those who live in the North Pole and the ice areas, the snow areas, they don't know heart disease, but eat so much fat. And that's how they came on omega-3 in the end. Say, oh, there is something about this omega-3 because these people get a lot of it. Despite eating all the fat, they don't have heart disease. Okay, so people then say, okay, I don't eat fish, so I better take supplements. So let's see what the story is about this. There's a but. Okay, of course, the but is 1 T, not 2 T's, but it's a but in here. We must consume it somehow because your bodies can't make omega-3. It can't make it. It's an essential oil. There are 8 of them, by the way. The ALA, we should find in plant sources, mainly plant sources. There are some other non-meat sources that do have some omega-3s, but not a lot. But your body cannot really convert ALA effectively into the other 7. So we will consume it in some other way. But there are many different omega-3 supplements on the market. So yeah, which one would you take? Is there a difference? And are they all good and safe? You'll be shocked if you do your homework. And I've done the homework for you. So I'm going to share some of it with you tonight. Revealed. Many common omega-3 fish oil supplements are rancid. Yes. Afrikaans, we say fraud. Bad. Independent tests found that many products on the market use oxidized oils with their acidity often masked by flavorings. So they put some flavorings in there so you won't smell the fishy smell. More than 1 in 10 fish oil supplements tested from among 60 large retail brands are rancid. Now this was a voluntary test they've got in terms of they give a voluntary benchmark. Now that benchmark might be actually too high. So really more of them will actually test positive for rancidity if you think about it. Labdoor over several years conducted some tests, testing common US branded fish oils. According to voluntary standards, some fish oils recorded levels 11 times higher than the recommended limits. So what? It is higher. Well, you'll find out soon. Rancidity arises when a product becomes oxidized. In fish oil, a rancid example can involve a strong fishy taste or rotten smell. Fish oil is particularly susceptible to oxidizing. This happens faster when exposed to heat, air, or light. See, there's the one source at the bottom there as well. Now, studies have shown that highly oxidized fish oil capsules can have a negative impact on cholesterol levels. That's just one of the tests, the studies. When tested in high doses in animals that also shown to have toxic effects. Changes in the chemical composition of highly oxidized oils may reduce their benefits. So you already start to see an omega-3 and omega-3 is omega-3. There are differences. There's some more. Trade data is limited, but check now what happens here. They pick up fish that was caught, for example, in Peru. They ship it to China for extraction and distillation, heat. From there, the oil moves to North America or Europe to be packaged. Now, firstly, there's heat use now, which is not good for oils. It's difficult to protect the product as it moves through the production process. The time spent in the open air or in hot conditions increases the likelihood of oxidation. Who's watching this? Who's doing the quality check here? Now, that is part of the problem, because we don't know who these companies are exporting to. We don't know how safe they keep the oils. So there are questions to be asked about the control. Dr. Ben Albert, University of Auckland, a study did for his PhD. The vast majority of omega-3 supplements sold in New Zealand are highly oxidized. Now, I guess that means roughly all over the world. Higher levels of omega-3 in the blood of obese people promoted insulin function and reduced the risk of developing diabetes. Take note that it does. So people at risk of developing diabetes, obese people, if they've got high levels of pure omega-3s in the blood, it decreases the risk. But take note, krill oil omega-3 has the opposite effect. So buying krill oil omega-3, not a good idea. It actually may increase the risk of getting diabetes or heart disease. In rats, they did a study. They did it on pregnant rats because it's difficult to do it on pregnant people because it takes so long for the babies to grow up to become adults. They want to do proper tests over a long period of time. In the rats, they found that if you have pregnant rats, oxidized omega-3 oils, almost 30% of the babies died within 2 days. Now, rats are mammals, and we are mammals too, so there seems to be a connection there. They do suggest that further studies are required on humans with fresh omega-3 fish oils to double check the results. But let's make sure think already. Okay, let's see what else. Now, people use a certain test to identify different types of omega-3s. I'm going to show the demonstration quickly, and then I'll explain it to you. Because people also, when they do this test, they actually misunderstand this test. But I'll explain afterwards.
So you want to buy an omega-3, and you think all omega-3s are the same? Well, let's see. I've got 2 different brands of omega-3 here. And I'm going to take a capsule of each. I'm going to prick it and squeeze it into the formula cup. Let's see. Here's the first one. I prick it and I squeeze it into the styrofoam cup. Squeeze it into the styrofoam cup. Okay. Now this one, first of all, is dark colored and it smells very fishy. Let me take the other omega-3 from the other bottle. We see this one, okay, slightly lighter in color. And here's my styrofoam cup. I'm going to prick it and squeeze it into the styrofoam cup as well. This one. And then we're going to leave this for a while and see if there's a difference. Okay, so here I have 2 cups, each with omega-3 in. This one on this side, and this one on the other side. Now I have to wait a few minutes. Here you can see the 2 cups. We have to wait a while, and then we see if there's any difference. Let me show it inside. Well, here you can see the 1 cup, the contents in the cup. And here's the other cup a few minutes later. You can see the contents is more dry at the moment, but let's wait a few minutes more and see what happens. Here we are a few minutes later. You can already start seeing what's happening to this cup. Look closely. Okay, you can see there what's happening. But we'll wait a few minutes more. This cup, you can see nothing still intact, nothing going on here. Let's wait a few minutes more and let me see again. Okay, let us see what has happened now with the styrofoam cups. This is the one, comes with a tin. Look what's happening here. It has started to dissolve the cup. The cup is broken. Look at the other cup. Intact, nothing wrong with this cup. So there's clearly a difference between the different omega-3s. So an omega-3 is an omega-3? I don't think so.
Now, the difference is the following. The one is a triglyceride, the other one is an ethyl ester. You can see on the left-hand side there, triglyceride. You see the molecule, those who are interested in chemistry, those are science. You see there on the one side there, that is the glycerol part of the triglyceride. And then attached to it, there are 3 side chains. Those will be your omega-3s attached to it. And it gives you a triglyceride. Okay? The ethyl ester molecule looks totally different. It consists of an omega-3 on the one side and an alcohol on the other side. Okay? So the molecule is not even the type of fat that our bodies are used to use, in any case. The ethyl ester. Now let's talk about it quickly. The styrofoam cup helps us to distinguish between the 2 types. Okay? It doesn't mean that the one that dissolves the styrofoam cup is toxic or will burn or corrode your intestines. It simply do with solubility. Those who know chemistry will know about solubility, like dissolves in like, similar intermolecular forces and stuff like that. But it helps us identify or distinguish between the 2. The fish oil in fish is in the form of triglycerides. Some manufacturers process the triglycerides to form ethyl esters. It's actually cheaper to produce an ethyl ester in the air, pure ethyl ester, than a pure triglyceride. Now, there are very big differences between the 2 in the end, significant differences. That's what's useful to identify between the 2 different types. Triglyceride fish oils are metabolized and absorbed more efficiently and more completely than ethyl esters. Triglycerides is therefore a better oil due to its higher bioavailability at cell level. Secondly, it's important to note that ethyl esters oxidizes relatively easy compared to triglycerides. That means they go rancid quickly compared to triglycerides. They're not as stable as triglycerides. And oxidation causes the ethyl ester breakdown to form harmful substances, things you don't want. Okay? The older the ethyl ester capsule, or the longer it was exposed to unfavorable conditions, the more content will oxidize and the more smelly it will get. Remember the video, the one smelled very fishy? I mentioned that. It's because it's far more oxidized. Liquid ethyl esters products, they go even faster. And they're characterized by a more intense fishy flavor, thus making them unpalatable for consumers. It's therefore better safe to use omega oils in the triglycerides form. There is actually research to back this. Let's see. The omega-3, the omega-6, and omega-9. Now, omega-3 and omega-6 are essential. Our bodies can't make them. Omega-9, our body can make. There's also omega-7. I'll talk about it later. But the point we're making is we do need omega-3, omega-6, and omega-9. But there are some cautions I'll get to. But omega-9, our body can make. And you can see omega-3, omega-6, omega-7, omega-9. Let's quickly look at what they do. This is not a complete list, just give you some idea. Omega-3 controls blood clotting, builds cellular membranes in the brain, enhances brain and joint function, helps with fat loss and muscle building benefits in athletes, reduces risk of cancer, reduces the risk of heart disease and diabetes, reduces inflammation. Whereas omega-6 can play a role in many of these as well, brain function, for growth, development, for stimulation of hair and skin growth, metabolism, for healthy bones, but it increases inflammation. And here's where the problem starts. I'm going to touch on that in a moment. And omega-7 reduces inflammation, reduces insulin resistance, but our body can make it naturally. And you do find it in things like macadamia nuts, for example. Omega-9 also reduces inflammation, improves joint health and healing, prevents a variety of diseases, also naturally produced by the body, but can be found in olive oil and vegetable oils. But the big one is the omega-3 we're talking about tonight. But I want to caution as well. If someone is on blood thinning medication, then adding omega-3 must be phased in slowly because omega-3 thins the blood. So therefore, if the person is on blood thinning medication, takes omega-3, it's going to make the blood thinner. So in the case of that, under doctor's care, the person must wean off the blood thinning medication, can't stop immediately. It's not a good idea either. And beware of omega-3 capsules that were manufactured using heat and to distillation, as heat can convert oils into bad oils, which we don't want. Also, most people get too much omega-6 in the diets. So rather afraid of buying a fish oil that contains omega-6. I mean, it's actually stupid. Because omega-3 lowers inflammation, omega-6 produces inflammation, and we're getting too much omega-6 in the diets in any case. People without a gallbladder, for example, is rather test omega-3 capsules first, because some of them might find some discomfort when they use an omega-3. People with high blood pressure, cholesterol might find on the safe side, rather start with low doses of omega-3 and phase it in until you get to higher dosages that you'd like to use. But consult with a health professional before using omega-3 supplements if you have health conditions related to the cardiovascular system problems. Okay, so sometimes it's best to just talk to your health professional who knows about nutrition as well. But omega-6, like I said, we get too much of it already in your diet. We actually get between 5 to 15 times more omega-3 than we actually need. And remember, omega-6 causes inflammation, and inflammation leads to health risks. So we must try and prevent the health risk. So avoid supplements that contain omega-6 unless it's specifically recommended by qualified practitioner who knows about nutrition. I mean, it doesn't make sense to take omega-6. We've already put too much omega-6 in the diet. And it counters the effect of the omega-3. You want to fight inflammation. Okay? Plant oils and processed foods tend to have high amounts of omega-6, especially with seed oils, like canola oil, for example. I really don't understand how they can recommend canola oil with Heart Foundation's label on it, logo on it. Really. It's full of omega-6s. Now, omega-3 salmon oil with all 8 omega-3 fish oils, take note, with all 8 omega-3 fish oils could be helpful for the following conditions. Circulation and cardiovascular challenges, like high blood pressure, cholesterol, things like that, or low blood pressure. Good for sore joints and lower back pain because it fights inflammation. For multi-cycle back pain, for arthritis, for healthy brain, ADD, hyperactivity, ADHD, those things. Now for migraines and headaches, I know Barbara says about this also. Can migraine take a handful of omega-3, not exactly how many handfuls, but 6 or 8, and very often it relieves your migraine. Memory retention, to remember things in other words. Mental disorders such as dementia and Alzheimer's, and also helps with depression and anxiety. These are all things that omega-3 help for, and these are tested and researched. Also for eczema, psoriasis and rashes on the skin. For allergies and inflammation, obviously, digestion issues, including IBS. For prostate issues, in actual fact, to keep a prostate healthy, you actually must get omega-3 in your diet. For better sleep, for healthier pregnancies, and also there for smarter and healthier babies. Remember I mentioned the rats who got the wrong oils, and the babies died. About 30% of the babies died within 2 days. Flexible, comfortable joints as well. The healthy balance between inflammatory and anti-inflammatory forces. There must be a balance between the two. For kidney health, and also for sugar levels and insulin resistance. So there's more we can add to this, but you can see omega-3 is such an essential part of the diets. So we must get it. And seeing that we don't get it from the food because we don't eat enough fish, we have to supplement. And I've shown you some reasons why we must be careful what type of supplements you actually purchase. So when you look for an omega-3, a couple of things you must look for. First, is it made from cold water fish, not krill? Krill is in a crustacean. And really, I showed you from research of that one doctor that showed that krill can actually have negative effects on your health. Does the label state the kind of fish, not a vague statement like marine lipid concentration or Norwegian fish oil? They say specifically what type of fish is in there. Remember, some fish oils also contain a lot of vitamin D as well. And vitamin D is fat soluble. So you might get a lot of vitamin D in that way as well. Furthermore, is the oil cold extracted or pressed? Because if it's distilled or heated, then there will be bad fats in there. Is it tested for at least 200 plus toxins, pesticides, herbicides, mercury, lead, all those things? And many omega-3s unfortunately contain mercury and lead. Shocking that these things actually sold on the market. I mean, they're selling poison. They put it bluntly. They're selling poison and it's allowed. Is it free of heavy metals like mercury and lead? And they don't always state this on the labels. Is it made from only the flesh of the fish? Remember, if it's made from the whole fish or the gut, the liver of fish, or as humans as well, that's where we find toxins. So if they press the whole fish, no wonder there'll be toxins in the oil. Furthermore, if the oil is put in a styrofoam cup, like I mentioned, is it a triglyceride form? It must not dissolve the cup. Does the capsule contain all 8 omega-3 fish oils? Remember, these 8 work together synergistically. If one is missing, it actually messes up the whole process. But most omega-3 fish oils you buy in the market will be 2 to 3 of the omega-3 fish oils in the capsule, not all 8. Are the oils specifically listed, or is there a vague statement only? Does it say it contains omega-3 oils, but it doesn't say which ones? Is the expiry date on the label? Remember we said these fish oils can oxidize. So if the expiry date, it will tell you, well, wait a minute, this product might be going down. And it must rather go down the drain, not down your mouth. Okay? Has the product been tested on humans? What research has been done on that product? Because really, people get on the bandwagon too quickly and produce some put in the market without proper testing and research. And does the research indicate that it actually gets absorbed? Does the research prove that it does improve the omega-3 to omega-6 ratio? Once you take an omega-3 and it doesn't improve those ratios, does it reduce the inflammatory response by something 68%, like in 8 weeks, for example? And does it lower triglyceride count? In other words, things flowing in your blood, which you're not supposed to have high amounts of. But does it lower it by 70% in 8 weeks? That can make a massive difference in your health. An example of a good salmon fish oil is the Salmon Oil Plus. It does contain all omega-3 fish oils, and there are the names. You can try and read them. Some of them, obviously, if you're drunk, don't try to pronounce them. It can be a test to see if people is intoxicated. But in any case, it promotes flexible and comfortable joints and many more health benefits, which I listed earlier on. Okay, so there are many health benefits. Okay, the omega-3s work in the chain reaction, which I mentioned earlier on. If one is missing, the process gets disrupted. Okay, so we don't want it to be disrupted. Now, here's the example I mentioned, the example of the whole food omega-3 supplement, but it is tested, the Salmon Oil Plus. This is the one that I also use. Now, let's quickly look, why do I recommend the omega-3 Salmon Oil Plus? Let's see the difference. Let's compare. Left-hand side is typically found in the market. Right-hand side is the omega-3 Salmon Plus. Ingredient-wise, typical one in the market, typical one. Do you know which fish are being used and how many? Unfortunately, very often it just says marine lipid concentrate or Norwegian fish oil, or it says from a fish source. It doesn't say what source. Omega-3 Salmon Oil Plus says from salmon, tuna, sardines, and anchovies. It states clearly which fish. It also actually, if you research it properly, will tell you where the fish come from. Called North Sea. Furthermore, ingredients How many omega-3 family members are itemized or listed? Most competitors have less than 4, if it's 3 or 2 in there. This one's got all 8. Are the concentrations specifically listed? Or does it say just a minimum this or minimum that? Or is it standardized? Like the omega-3 7 plus, it's standardized amounts, guaranteed in every capsule every time. So you know what you're getting. You can trust the label. Questions to be asked: the quality of an omega-3 product. Is it tested for contaminants and how many? Check the label. Are they mentioned? Now the omega-3 plus tested for 200 plus potential contaminants, none found. No heavy metals. So it's safe for pregnant women, safe for babies. Is it checked for herbicides and pesticides? Are they specifically mentioned? Dioxins, PCBs, and so on. Well, they're not mentioned in the Salmon Oil Plus because they are none found. Manufacturing, how is it manufactured? Is it cold pressed? No heat used? Or does it say low heat manufacturing? Salmon Oil Plus, no heat used. Cold pressed, only the fillet of the fish, not the gut, nothing else, just the meat. Scientific research confirmed the following differences. Take note. Is there any proof that the product does what omega-3 fats are supposed to do? Yes. This product has been researched and published, and it does do what it's supposed to do. Is there proven influence on the body? Yes. Improve the ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 in the body by 43% in just 8 weeks. That is a massive difference in your inflammation levels. And that's the next question. Does it specifically reduce inflammation? Yes. By 68% in just 8 weeks. That can change your life. Does it specifically support heart health? Yes, it lowers triglyceride blood fats by 70% in just 8 weeks. This was published in scientific journals, the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, Amos of the New York Academy of Sciences. Peer-reviewed journals, the other scientists can also check this. New Life has got a scientific advisory board and was founded in 1976 by a double Nobel Prize winner, Dr. Arthur First. Their policy is based in nature, backed by science. And New Life Omega-3 7 Plus is the leader on the market. It ticks all the important boxes. The Scientific Advisory Board has got a network of scientists that back them and support them and helps with information. They're strict adherence to nature's blueprint. In nature, omega-3 comes in 8 oils, not 1 or 2. We need all 8. And that seal, the SAB seal, guarantees the finest, safest, and most effective products in the world that are tested and researched and published. So if you want your family to be healthy, it may be time for you to change your buying habits. So for more information, contact the person who invited you to this webinar. Okay? Speak to the person who invited you. That's just my qualification to tell you where I come from. And now you can see why I use the Salmon Oil Omega-3 Plus, because of the things I showed you.
Wow, fantastic information. Now I know why I didn't take science till matric.
Because there were other girls and guys with glasses that could read the things for you.
I prefer the biology.
Well, triglyceride stuff actually was part of biochemistry, is part of biology as well, by the way.
You didn't attend that class, Herman.